A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 9th July 2020. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Tony Robbins. Setting goals is the first step. Remember, he's saying that setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. Invisible, that means something that is in your dream, something that you wish to be, something that you want to see as a reality. If you want to see that thing, if you want to convert this invisible into visible, for that the first step is setting goals. And for setting goals, I would like to add a few more things here, that if you want to set your goals, then make sure you write them down. It's very important. And not just write them down, make sure that you cover them up or create a sort of boundary. When I say boundary, I'm talking about there should be a deadline, there should be a time or date for your goal or your goals. With this difference, StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is designed by some of the best faculties of our country. You can see many of them on your screen. And dear friends, it covers pre and mains examination. It covers Civil Services IAS examination. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Till 10th July, that means till tomorrow, EMI option is also available. This is an offer that is going on, so make the most out of it. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook as well. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And if you have not, then please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once you subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, so that you get notifications from YouTube about awesome videos that are made by StudyIQ on regular basis. With this, dear friends, on our table we have two articles from the Hindu. We'll start with this one. It's about MGNREGA. Then we are going to talk about China, and China has been talking about this community of shared future of mankind. So we are going to decode this thing. Then we have two articles based on this F1 visa decision taken by USA's administration, or Mr. Trump administration, and its impact and things like that. Then we are going to talk about environment, and the last one is about United Nations. Very interesting, very important article. So let's quickly crack on. The first one is about MGNREGA. Now, dear friends, I'm sure you don't need more explanation about MGNREGA. MGNREGA is not a new scheme. It has been going on for more than 10 years, if I'm not wrong, isn't it? So if you are just new, if you have just started your preparation with civil services or any other competitive exam, then I highly recommend you guys to check out our StudyIQ channel, right, the YouTube channel, and you will find lectures on MGNREGA. Right, go through a couple of lectures, right, it will give you basic idea about what it is all about and things like that. So MGNREGA, in a nutshell, is a sort of scheme that has acted like an insurance for poor people. It's not an insurance scheme, but it's like it has worked like an insurance, particularly in time of a crisis. So if you cannot find any work, and this is a reality, if you go through some basics about our economics, then you find that in our country we have 85% farmers. They come into category of micro or small farmers, marginal or small farmers. So the piece of land that they own is very small, and that's not enough for them to survive and support their family. So what they do is, when this farming season is not there, on an average you have like 3-4 months break in this farming activity. So during this tough times, what they do is, this poor people, they find work. They work for someone else, maybe in factory, maybe some other places, construction workers, etc. And during this time of crisis, MGNREGA plays a very important role. Now, if we go through some facts, then you can see here that 8.4 lakh poor households. Here, remember, we are talking about households. Households have completed at least 80 days of 100-day limit for work under MGNREGA. 1.4 lakh, that means 1,40,000 people have completed, or households have completed, not people, but households have completed full quota. That means 100 days of work. So this year compared to last year, if you see that this year there are 4.6 crore households have benefited from MGNREGA. So that's a good thing. Distress has driven them to MGNREGA. There are so many people now. The demand for MGNREGA has gone up as well. And one of the main reason is because of COVID-19 pandemic. The country was forced under a lockdown that was absolutely necessary. And because of this lockdown, we saw migrant exodus from city area to their rural area. And in rural area, they have left rural area because they don't have any work over there, or the work that they have, it's not providing them enough money to survive. So naturally, demand of MGNREGA has gone up. The good thing is that MGNREGA is providing a huge amount of work as well to various different migrants who have gone back home. The scheme has come as a huge relief to poor families. Demand for MGNREGA has doubled or tripled as well in many districts, and this is all because of this migrant exodus led by COVID-19 lockdown. Now, the thing that central government should do is to make it a bit more flexible. I would like to give you this example of a small farmland. Just imagine that you have a small farmland. You are like a total 3 adults in your family. You, your missus or your husband, and your adult son. Just imagine, right? Or daughter. It doesn't matter. You can choose these 3 people in whichever combination you like. You can have 3 brothers, 3 sisters, etc. So if they work in this small piece of land, means this small piece of land, it does not require that many people, right? Only one man can handle this whole thing. Let's imagine. So you have 2 extra players here. We don't need this 2 extra players here. So just imagine if they can find some other work somewhere else outside their field. If they can find a job under this MGNREGA, then they will earn more money, and the total income of this household will go up as well. One more thing that we can do is, let's say if you have this small piece of land or a little bit of medium-sized piece of land, and you are 3 adults here, and you can approach government, and government means we can make this sort of things as well with MGNREGA that government can cover, but it would be like supporting the farmer. So let's say if you have just one person, you are the only one who can work in the field, and you need to hire 2 more people, then you can approach MGNREGA, and MGNREGA can provide you 2 people. They can work for you, and government will pay for that, for their work. So this will help you as well. Your agriculture like farmer will be supported at the same time. Unemployed rural adults will get a job as well. So we can do something like this as well. This is just my small idea. So center should extend the limit of MGNREGA at least on state by state basis. As I told you, MGNREGA has acted like an insurance. What we need to do now is, rather than providing jobs only during the time of crisis, what we should do is we can convert this whole attitude of MGNREGA. We can change the working style, and we can convert it into a vehicle for rural development. So pre-planning and constructing and rural social infrastructure, creating roads, etc. And if we plan ahead, then what will happen is all these things, when you create infrastructure, it is going to it's a step towards development, and the chances of growth will increase as well. So these are the things that we need to do under MGNREGA. Moving on to next item. Beijing likes to talk about community of shared future of mankind. Now this article is written by Syed Akbaruddin. I'm not sure how many of you are aware about him, but he used to be our Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, or maybe more than that. And then he was India's permanent representative to United Nations. So he has written this article, and he's pointing, or he's drawing our attention to a very important thing. Back in 2015 at United Nations, Chinese President Xi Jinping said community of shared future of mankind. Means China's big plan is to create a community in which mankind shares future with each other. At 19th CPC National Congress in 2017 in China, Chinese leaders said that building a community with a shared future for mankind was enshrined as a core concept and basic policy guiding Chinese diplomacy. Do you really see this sort of things? the words or it's all barking and no biting, right? That's what I can say. It's all about speaking good words, but when it comes to acting on them, China is not doing that. We all know that. China claims that this is the goal of its BRI as well. That Belt and Road Initiative is also based on this philosophy. Yes, you are creating this China-Pakistan economic corridor from our portion, from India, right, using this POK. And then you are saying that shared future of mankind. It's very interesting to note this thing that United Nations and agencies of UN, so many agencies of UN, they are also using this sort of words in their document. In fact, Antonio Guterres, he used similar words. And 73rd session in 2018 even called for a community of shared future for mankind in cyberspace. That's what China said. So there is a clear connection between Xi Jinping's statement, CPC's statement. So many UN agencies are using this sort of statement, and Mr. Guterres using this statement. Now China is saying that even in the world or in the domain of cyberspace, China is ready to use the same formula. So what they are doing with BRI, now they have launched a new thing called the Digital Silk Route. I'm sure you are aware about it. We have talked about this thing few days ago. Chinese scholars trace the term's lineage to Tianxia. Tianxia means all under heaven system. And when say heaven, then who is the king of heaven? That's what they would like to see, Mr. Xi Jinping or China being the main king of the heaven, or whatever good is happening on this earth is because of China. What their scholars are saying that China is developing a new model for major power competition, shifting security concerns to non-traditional threats, promoting win-win economic cooperation instead of trade and technology competition, integrating non-Western practices and governance with Western system or universal values, managing economic development in a way that ensures ecological balance. Can you believe these good words coming from China? Ecological balance, right? What you have done with so many countries. They're extracting resources of so many nations, right, to create this lithium batteries. They have won these contracts in South American nations, and they are mining over there. I was going through a program in Al Jazeera. I remember this thing now when I'm talking to you. A few years ago, I was going through one program, and it was about this Chinese companies in Afghanistan. They have bribed a huge amount of money to this Afghanistan politicians. This is some 4 or 5 years ago, and they are basically looking for they have this copper reserves over there. So they are destroying the heritage, whatever you find from underneath, like so many Buddhist idols and other things were found. They were being destroyed. They are just using literally their big earth movers. So it's all about, as I told you, right? It's all barking and no biting. India-China Panchashil Agreement of 1954. If you go through this document, then what China is saying that Panchashil is all about win-win. China would like to promote cooperation rather than competition with India. What we find today is a cutthroat competition. The focus is on the big picture of China. That's what China is saying, right? That the big picture, our big picture, that means Chinese big picture is sustainable development, countering non-traditional security threats, epidemics and pandemics, working with various different countries to conquer and fight pandemics and epidemics, fighting drug trafficking, fighting money laundering, fighting human trafficking, collaborating in frontiers like high seas, polar regions, outer space and cyberspace. Now, Joseph Nye has said that soft power is dependent on an attractive vision of the future, and that's what China is giving, right? It is giving vision to various different small countries. It is creating roads, it is creating ports, it is giving them money, it is creating schools and all these things, right? Rather than schools, it is more interested in creating factories over there and extracting their resources, because China believes in speed, that speedy generation of wealth, as quickly as possible, grab all the resources and make money out of it. And because of this thing, they are doing so many things that are going wrong, isn't it, with so many countries. And we have seen this thing with Sri Lanka. Hambantota is best example. There are other countries as well. Anyway, so in this article, what Syed Akbaruddin is trying to tell us is that India, we have to deploy those experts who can decipher, who can decode this China's intent, what China is trying to achieve. Let's say after 5-10 years down the road, what exactly where China wants to see itself in the next 5 years. Right? So these are the things. We need those people, we need those warriors, we need those diplomats who can decode these things. And we need to deploy them in the front so that we can create our own strategies so that we can protect ourselves. And we have to decide this thing now itself. That it's not like now only, or if we don't decide it now, then it's gone. But every single day is things are moving in favor of China. It is getting bigger and stronger. So we have to we should be very clear in our head that do we really want to join BRI or this so-called, if not BRI, then China's community of shared future, the so-called community of shared future. Are we going to be part of it? Would we like to see ourselves in it fully or partially? Or if not, then why not? These things should be clear in our head. When I say head, I mean to say our nation, our government should be absolutely clear. And this is not just about this government. Let's say in future, if you have some other government, other party coming to power, they should know this thing, benefits as well as disadvantages of joining this or not joining community of shared future China. I have one more interesting article, and the next interesting article will the last one basically from the Statesman is going to add more light on this thing. So I have kept it in the last so that it's not all China, isn't it? Moving on to next item. This one is about USA. A very rough decision taken by Mr. Trump. USA revoked F1, that is International Students Visa. Now, students play a very important role in USA's economy. They add $41 billion to the US economy, and USA has some 11 lakh international students. Out of that 11 lakh students, 2 lakh are from India. Can you tell me the name of the country that has highest number of students, international students, or contribution of highest number of international students in USA? Which country? Stick your answer in the comment section. I'll reveal the answer in like few minutes. So if you want to take a guess, stick your answer. Okay. Now, the problem is that if you go through the history of USA, you will find that USA is all built up with immigrants, and USA is a country that takes pride, just like India takes pride in being a secular nation. In the same way, USA takes pride in being a country that has always attracted best talent of this planet, and USA has been like that for a very long period of time. Now, the problem is under Mr. Trump's leadership from last few years, what we have seen is the reputation of USA is, at present, the reputation is like being a country that is very uncertain. You never know what Mr. Trump will say tomorrow, what he will tweet about tomorrow. This decision to revoke F1 visa will impact 2 lakh Indian students. Just imagine their future. They went there to USA to achieve that American dream. But now this one decision of Mr. Trump is going to impact so many students. One more thing that I would like to add here, that universities, they run on money coming from, or fees coming from international students, because if you compare the fees of international students, then it is nearly twice than the local students. So if you are, let's say in the USA, right, if a local student will pay $10,000 for 1 year, then you have to pay nearly $18,000, $20,000 if you are international student. So sharp fall in new international students means sharp fall in the income or revenue of university, and this will impact research and development. Research and development is the only reason one of the core reason, not the only, but I would say one of the core reason why USA is a superpower. Whether you know it or if you don't know, right, R&D is the strongest area of USA. Everything, their fighter jets, their buildings, everything is product of research. And if you stop research, then you are going to come down. If you there was a time I remember that when things were going economically very tough back in 2008, 7, 8, 9. So USA was ready to, I think they chopped president's expenses. They chopped, this government's expenses, but they increased, in fact, R&D spending. So this whole nation is the pillar on which it is standing is R&D. Now, presidents and prime ministers will be judged by their ability to handle COVID-19 challenge. And again, we are in the same topic, but this one is from Indian Express. Mr. Trump, in early days, he tried to reject or duck it, and then now he's politicizing it. And one of the reasons why he took this decision is politics. He wants to win the second term, which is means this election is going to take in November, isn't it? So he is in a proper political mood now, and nothing else than that. He wants all things, means that's what I think, right? Or when I say all, let's say not all, right? That would be a bit too extreme. Most of the things that he's doing nowadays, or his administration is doing, is influenced by politics. So he even said that many states, United Nations, means USA's many states are not ready to open the schools, or they have not been opening it because of political reasons. They are trying to win brownie points out of it, and they are trying to project him as a bad leader and things like that. Now, foreign students, they will be deported. This will be very rude to them. And, Indian students are like, means on one side, USA-China war is going on. This trade war and other sort of psychological Cold War is going on. So because of that, they have like 4 lakh Chinese students in USA. The USA wants to kick them out, but it cannot just kick them out. So it took this decision so that they can be chucked out of their country. But this will impact 2 lakh Indian students as well. Indian students going out will impact education, medicine, IT, as well as hospitality industry or economy or sector of USA. And the good thing that I find in USA, and I want you guys to pay attention to this thing, that Harvard, MIT, these institutions, some of the best in the world, even though they get huge amount of money from government of USA, they are very, very independent. They are genuinely independent, and this is the reason why you see that these 2 universities, they have filed a lawsuit against Department of Homeland Security and IEC agency in a district in Boston. So this is the reason why their research and development is good, right? Independence is there, freedom is there. It's not like here. In here, in our country, too much of politics in government universities. Moving on to next item, green lightning, ecological decimation amidst a pandemic. As far as vulnerability is concerned, India is at rank 5th when it comes to climate change and vulnerable nations due to climate change. The reason behind this vulnerability is our, and not just our, but the whole world at present, not the whole world. We cannot talk about Bhutan like that. Bhutan is a very interesting country when it comes to protecting environment. So there are few countries in this world, but unfortunately, their ratio is quite small. Global development models are based on this belief that let's, clear these jungles, create concrete buildings, big buildings over here, turn your agricultural land into non-agricultural land, create societies over there. And if you are short in agricultural land, then remove this, clear these forests, and you can do agriculture over there, because we are creating more human beings. We are reproducing more and more human beings. We want everything for our family, isn't it? And because of this greed of human beings, right, we are putting too much pressure on our planet. And because of this too much pressure, what we have done is we have expanded this, as I told you, expanded this agricultural land, and then we are using this forest land for new buildings and things like that. So there are some boundaries, there are some walls. These walls have protected, this biodiversity walls have protected us from dangerous diseases. See, the thing is that biggest and the most lethal, most dangerous virus on this planet is human beings. We are not alone over here, right? We have crores of various different species, and we like lions, we like tigers, but we don't like other animals or other species because they are not that photogenic, they are not that attractive, they are not that, this economy is associated. Everything is, been seen under this lens of money. And that's the problem of human beings and government, as well as politicians, as well as society. So we have destroyed these walls. And if you see back in this 21st century, we have seen multiple lethal epidemics, and scientists, they are saying that we are going to see more epidemics like COVID-19 because we have destroyed these walls. There are a few diseases, they are okay. If you have some virus you find in this reindeer or maybe some bat or eagle or someone, then it's okay, they are fine, they are living very a normal life. But that particular virus can be destructive for us. So why or how they are entering in our world? It's not they are entering in our world. What we are doing is we are entering in their world. And this is the problem. You see, during this lockdown phase, Government of India has approved so many different projects in Gir National Park, in Panna Forest Belt, in this Elephant Reserve, and then you have so many other places. You can download the PDF and then go through it. But the most disturbing thing is the latest draft environment impact assessment. Government launched it, and government kept a deadline of 30th June 2020. The country is just coming out of lockdown, right? People are not traveling that much, and then you expect people to take part in this thing? Of course no. So it's good that Delhi High Court has extended deadline to 11th August 2020. Now again, one more disturbing thing that I find here is this, that just imagine this is the place that you like. Just imagine, right? I will start clearing this project here, and then I will create a building or factory or something, and then I will apply for permission. Is it logical? Or this should be banned? Or this is illegal, isn't it? That I destroy jungle and then I come to you, or I go to government and then ask for permission. That's what government is saying. That starting a project before obtaining environmental approvals will no longer be a violation. It can be regularized post facto once you create your building after that. So PEEP means it's like a free hand. Do whatever you like. We will give you permission. This is insane. The draft says nothing on improving monitoring and compliance. And what about protecting environment and frontline communities? Nothing in it. So this draft, I don't know who has compiled or who has made this draft, but I strongly agree that we need to reject this draft. If we are talking about this sort of things, right, we need to reject it. Moving on to next item, very interesting article. Last one, yet most important of the day. This one is about United Nations at 75. 26th June 2020, United Nations became 75 years in age. It was back in 26th June 1945 when 50 nations signed a charter at San Francisco to establish the United Nations. Today, UN has 193 members. Second Secretary General of UN said that UN is not created to take mankind to heaven, but to save humanity from hell. Okay, United Nations or UN is not an organization that is 100% perfect. One positive point about UN is that it has not created, it has not delivered that promise of ensuring peace in this world. World is not peaceful at present. But the positive thing is that it has contained, it has controlled, or it has refrained a few nations to go ahead with a war. So that is a big achievement. That is a positive thing about UN. But still, It's not perfect, and it's getting weaker and weaker. When it comes to terrorism, we don't have any definition. When it comes to refugees, there are so many countries, they are not following United Nations. When it comes to COVID-19, every single country is doing whatever that particular country feels is good, rather than getting orders from or following one leader, one global leader, that is UN. Now, the reason why we are discussing this article is because for the 8th time, India will again take a seat at United Nations Security Council. In last 10 years, 10 years ago, back in 2011-12, we used to be part of this. For 2 years, 2011 and 12, we used to be part of this United Nations Security Council non-permanent seat, or non-permanent. We were non-permanent member. In last 10 years, China has got stronger and stronger. It is getting stronger and stronger, and USA is waning. USA is getting weaker, or it is creating this vacuum. Under Trump administration, USA came out with this America first thing. So many European countries are not happy with USA now. They used to be good friends. Trans-Pacific Partnership, Paris Climate Change, JCPOA, that is Iran nuclear deal. Then you have this NATO. In various different platforms, you find that Mr. Trump has he has said that he's going to step out, and the process is on. They have stepped out from various different, like JCPOA, for example, or Paris Climate Change. So the place where USA is creating vacuum, the place where USA is going out, China is coming in. And we were talking about this China. The second topic was about China. So I want you guys to relate this thing with the second topic that we have discussed just a few minutes ago, that Chinese diplomats are head of 15 specialized agencies of UN. China is world's largest exporter. Today, China commands 16% of global GDP. It is also said that it will replace USA's dollar, its currency. Can you stick your... I have one question for you. Give me the name of Chinese currency. Stick your answer in the comment section. It is said that Chinese currency will replace dollar as well. China has clearly said this thing by taking actions against various different countries, that if you are not with us, then you are against us. If you say something about Tibet, if you say something about us, if you say something about, if you are planning to do something against us, if you are going to be part of a team that is working against us, then you will see territorial aggression. For example, India, LAC issue. When it comes to economic intimidation, Australia is a good example. Australia said that there should be a thorough investigation about this COVID-19, coronavirus, etc. And China has applied heavy duty on things coming from Australia to China. China is positioning itself as a defender of global trading system. And on one side, it is saying that it is a defender of global trading system. On the other side, it is it is encroaching territories of other nations and resources of other nations and violating UNCLOS. All these things are going on as it is because of P5 and weakness of United Nations Security Council. P5 members, you have, this is France, this is Russia here, and then you have USA, this is UK, and this is China. UK, it used to be a very strong country, but it is old and weak at present. And P5 is outdated. It's been, 75 years? And things have changed. Like countries like Japan, then you have country like India. Our country is so strong now. India should be part of United Nations Security Council, permanent member, right? We should have P6 or P10 or something like that. Because so far these nations, they have misbehaved at various different levels. I'm going to take you through it as well. If you don't reform UN or UNSC, then there will be a future where you will find your rivals or alternative, like Bretton Woods, like World Bank and IMF used to rule. But now we have banks set up by China. So in the same way, we can find other countries like France and Germany. They have created this alliance for multilateralism. Then Trump talked about G11 or G10. Britain talked about D10, that is a group of 10 democracies, committee to save the world order, a grouping of 9 democracies. But all these groups are not a big threat for United Nations at present, because United Nations is means we don't have any alternative at present. And the day when you'll file alternative, it's not going to be all of a sudden. It's going to be step by step. Step by step, UN will get weaker and weaker, and step by step, a group will get stronger and stronger. Just like US are getting weaker and weaker, and China getting stronger and stronger. P5 can still tweak rules according to their wishes. That's what they have been doing. Russia annexed Crimea. China is throwing its weight around this South China Sea. China has in fact weaponized rogue states as well, like nuclear weapons to North Korea, to Pakistan, other weapons, not nuclear but other weapons to Libya, Iran, Syria, Iraq, Saudi. All these nations are provided by China is providing weapons to all these nations as well. If you go back and see the history of ISIS, then you find there they were earlier on supported by USA, France and UK. They used to fund and support those rebels who were fighting against this Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria. And these rebels, they called themselves, later on they got weapons and everything, and they created a new group called ISIS. So this sort of things are been going on because still this P5, they have the power, isn't it? But this irresponsible use of power is making this United Nations weaker and weaker. And that's everything in today's discussion. These are a few news items. I want you guys to download the PDF and go through it. And that's everything from my side. I'll see you soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.